Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode fucking 50. 50 of them damn fucking things now. Episode 50 of the Final Picture Show podcast, where, like we do every 10 episodes, we're going to do something a little different. Tonight's a little different is from 2006, October of 2006, actually, The Departed. And, of course, I am here with, there he is, Travis himself. Oh, Travis,
Hey.
Travis. The world is in a state of peril. Los Angeles is
Absolutely.
burning to the ground, it looks like. It's like a Rage Against the Machine song come to life.
Yeah, I was going to say that or Bad Religion.
It could be a Bad Religion song come to life as well. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
Yep.
one. I like that. Lots of possibilities. Discharge also.
I mean,
Just throw out some old punk bands
Yeah.
here and there. So yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
right.
that kind of covers our sign of the apocalypse. Just open your eyes. That's it. That's it for today. Look outside.
Oh, man.
Are things on fire? Well, if not, then you're doing better than some people are here in this great country of ours. Well, let's move away from politics and talk about
Yeah.
the movie for tonight. And that is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I believe
Yes.
one of yours as well.
Oh, it's easily top 5.
Oh, yeah. This movie, I mean, so it's kind of like hard to call it a hidden gem because it's definitely not. The movie won the Best Director, Best Writing, Best Editing, and Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah.
It is also ranked number 38 on IMDb's 250 top movies of all time list. So there's that.
Mm.
All the way up at number 38. And
Far
it's
out.
kind of, yeah, I was going to say, it has kind of always been known as like a big popular movie since the moment it came out. But I
Yeah.
think for you and I especially, it is a movie that we have a special fondness for because it scratches an itch that I didn't know I had until this movie came
Exactly.
out.
Yes.
I did not realize that I had such an affinity for the South Boston accent or just crime movies about South Boston. But man, did I definitely liked what I saw here. And it inspired me to continue to watch more such movies. Like, because The Town would come out after this as well, which was another kind of great, similar kind of concept of like a Boston crime movie. Did you ever watch The Town with Ben Affleck?
Honestly, I've only seen parts of it somehow. I've never actually sat down and watched it all the way through.
That movie is really, really good. It's a good follow-up from like watching The Departed and then immediately watching The Town right afterwards.
Nice. And that one was directed by Benny Affleck, right?
Yes, Ben Affleck himself, a man from Boston. As we'll see, some of the cast here is from Boston. Some of them are not from Boston. The director is actually famously not from Boston. He's kind of made a lot of movies about New York City, and that is Martin Scorsese himself. And this would actually be up to date 2025, the only movie he's ever won Best Picture for, and I believe the only movie he's ever won Best Director for.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Of all the movies he's directed, this is like one of the more violent, mean. Like, no one in this movie is a really good person. Nobody. No. They're all terrible, shitty human beings. So you have a movie full of awful people. It's just weird that this is the movie that won Best Picture and has not stuck around. Like, because I think if you're going to look at his movies, you're going to have to go with Goodfellas over this.
I think so.
But to me, at least, it goes Goodfellas and then immediately The Departed. Like, I like Casino. I like a lot. I even like Cape Fear. I like a lot of Martin Scorsese movies.
Oh, Scorsese's awesome.
Yeah, but this one is definitely one of my favorites up there with like the
it's
Goodfellas.
The one I've watched the most times. This one and Goodfellas.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think for Gen Zers, they kind of gravitate more towards Wolf of Wall Street just because of some of like the antics in the film.
Right.
And it does have that. It's kind of got a lot of that going on. But whenever I think of Martin Scorsese, I think of like a crime movie. You know, Taxi Driver. Yeah. Fucking Casino, The Departed, Meat Streets, all of these kind of movies that he was really known for. And this is one of them as well, because this is definitely up there with one of the better crime movies ever made.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like I said, it's the one I've watched the most. So.
Right. So the writing group for this movie is really one guy, but he is adapting the work of two other guys. And we'll get into a little bit of that because those two guys were also adapting the work of another guy. And if you want to be specific, Jack Nicholson basically does his own thing, and he kind of should be added on as like maybe a third writer as well, because a lot of his decisions are not in the script, so to say. So the writer is William Monahan, who would also write Kingdom of Heaven, which is a really cool movie about the leper king and all of that. It's a good time. He also wrote Body of Lies, which would come out shortly after this, which was another Leonardo DiCaprio movie. It's okay.
Yeah,
he's like a spy. He's like a spy, and it's kind of it's okay. He would also write Edge of Darkness as well as many other movies. He's actually got 10 movies currently in progress that he is either writing the script for or has written the script for. So. Going to see a lot more of him. He's also directed 2 movies as well. So kind of constantly doing stuff. Mr. Monahan is. He here is adapting the script.
It's Infernal Affairs. Yes, isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Now I like that obviously because I'm me, but I don't know if it's just me or my attention span, or because I'm just comparing it against this movie. I've tried to watch Infernal Affairs. There's 3 of them.
There are.
I struggle to get through the first one though, and I don't know if it says something about me just because I'm like, I don't know, it's my attention span or something.
It's a different kind of movie altogether, and actually, Martin Scorsese, we'll get into this more when we get into the background, but he actually refused to watch this Infernal Affairs until after directing his. He didn't even know the script when he signed on to do it. He didn't even know it was a remake.
Oh,
he said he probably wouldn't have even done it had he known.
Interesting.
When he was approached by Brad Pitt and the production company behind it, they approached him with the idea of doing this movie, and they told him the idea of it, but they never mentioned to him that it was based on a Hong Kong movie that had come out like 5 years beforehand. So Infernal Affairs coming out in 2002, which was written by Alan Mack and Felix Chong, and that movie is actually based on another movie from 1997. Which has a similar premise when you think about it. If you think about the premise of the movie, it's very, very similar, but it added in some sci-fi elements. So the writer, Felix Chong here, he was really inspired by this 1997 mainstream American movie created by a Hong Kong director, John Woo.
Oh.
Maybe this is giving you some hints as to the movie, about a cop and a gangster switching sides.
Yeah.
But his big issue he had with it was he was like, the sci-fi stuff was nonsense and didn't make any sense. But if you cut that out, you have a really good idea for a movie. And what movie do you think that was?
Well, see, I think that'd be a problem if you took that out, though, because then that's really the movie's face, and you don't want to take the face off.
Exactly, yes. So this movie, Infernal Affairs, was based on John Woo's Face Off, because they watched it and were like, well, that's a pretty good idea. I don't really like the whole face taking off thing, like that's a little silly, but like the idea of like a gangster going undercover as a police officer, there was some merit to that, and so they took that idea from John Woo's 1997 movie and shaped that into the 2002 Infernal Affairs, which would create its own series, like you said, of Infernal Affairs 2 and 3 as well. And
all right, for some reason that makes me want to watch it more now.
And then that, of course, would lead to The Departed. Yeah, so that's a little bit on how this movie came to be. And of course, it would win the Oscar for Best Writing, which is kind of weird. That Face Off is like this kind of oftentimes like ridiculed 90s silly movie. And yet, like, it was like, okay, well, the script of it kind of led to the winning of the Best Oscar like less than a decade later. So it's kind of silly how that worked, but yeah.
Well, you know, going back to like the writing and Jack Nicholson basically writing his own character, it could be said that he doesn't want to be a reflection of his environment. He wants his environment to be a reflection of him.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah, you like that?
The one of many,
I've been holding on to that since you started,
many references. Yes, it's going to say one of many. I guess
we're going to make many references.
Yeah, right. I guess let's get into the cast, because so this movie cost $90 million to make, and of that $90 million, half of it went to just the cast.
Yeah, that's believable.
Yeah, and there were a shitload of actors and actresses who were offered roles who either turned them down or couldn't because of timing or various things happened or fell through, or they just flat out refused because they had other projects in the work. But yeah, the cast could at one it's an amazing cast first off, but at different points, this movie could have looked very differently, very very different. So we'll talk a little bit about some of our movies that we like from these people because there's a lot of good shit.
There's so
We're doing it loosey goosey. It's episode 50, right? Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
Pull your dick out. All right. Maybe don't. Put it back up. That was weird. Speaking of pulling your dick out, Mark Whalberg is here. There you go. Got that one. Mark Whalberg is playing Dignam, who we will talk about Marky Mark and his Funky Bunch a little bit more next week.
Hell yeah.
Reference there. Foreshadowing. So Marky Mark is in this. Do you have a favorite Mark Whalberg movie? We have talked about him a lot, and we will continue to talk about him a lot. So we talked about him with Planet of the Apes. Talk about him again next week.
Here's the thing.
We'll talk about the man a bit.
He is probably one of my favorite actors to watch. Not because he's like good or anything, because he's not bad. I think he's a good actor. But he's so Mark Whalberg, if that makes sense. Say my favorite of his movies, which would be like Pain and Gain is a great one. The Departed, of course, obviously. It's The Other Guys is really funny because he's actually pretty funny dude.
Oh yeah, The Other Guys is a great one. Yeah, The Other Guys is a great one. Yeah.
I mean, Boogie Nights, fuck that. Boogie Nights is good though.
Boogie Nights. He really he is very like director dependent.
Right.
He's amazing in the right hands. He can also be terrible in the wrong hands. If you stretch his skills too far, it gets a little iffy. See happening.
I mean,
Rockstar.
Oh god.
Have you seen that new movie he's in with Mel Gibson directing?
I don't think so.
Oh god, okay. So after we get done here, I'll have to send you the trailer of it because it's the silliest shit I've seen in a long time.
Awesome.
But it's very Mark Whalberg, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
I will say this: the only Transformers movie I've seen is the one with him in it. So
that's the only one worth watching.
Exactly, because it's Mark. Like I will watch. Like if I normally wouldn't watch a movie, if Mark Wahlberg's in it, I'll probably watch it. Like.
You kind of mentioned all of the good Mark Whalberg movies. The only one I didn't hear you mention that I'll throw out there just because we haven't talked about it yet in our many times we've discussed this man is I Heart Huckabees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one he's really, really funny in that. I think that was the first movie I saw him in where I kind of began to turn a little bit on how I felt as him as an actor.
Really?
He had been in some bad movies before then. And he's been in some bad movies after that. But I always really... He's an actor that I always think is a fun one to watch, Sometimes he's going to amaze you. Sometimes he's going to throw shit out the screen. And, that's just what it is. That's Mark Whalberg.
I think the first movie I saw him in was that Fear movie with Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not a bad movie. That one,
he plays
he did a good job there.
He plays an aggressive high school bully quite well.
Psycho, yeah. But, he didn't have to go too far, I bet. When Leo were in a movie back in the 90s. What was that? Yeah, there you go. Basketball Diaries.
Yeah.
So that was another
Which
of my
they apparently did not get along during.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently Leo and Mark did not have the best relationship on that movie. And this would be the first one I worked in afterwards. And so a little bit better here.
Wow.
Yeah, they had some tension from that original time working together. But they were also very different people. Leonardo DiCaprio has always been very much like I take this shit very seriously. I think Mark Whalberg at one point, especially back when he was first starting, was kind of like him. He was Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch. He was literally a white rapper.
He's a Calvin Klein model.
He's a Calvin Klein model. He was kind of doing a little bit of everything. So I think some of that kind of annoyed Leo, and he kind of took that with him. But they worked through all that bullshit. So let's move on and talk about other people in the cast here. We got Jack Nicholson playing Costello, and he would actually rub Mark Whalberg the wrong way several times while filming this movie. They did not get along. In spite of that, Mark Whalberg would say that Jack's the GOAT, loved him, But yeah, a lot of the improv was problematic for some of Jack Nicholson's co-stars.
Oh yeah,
Jack Nicholson,
yeah.
once again, been in so many movies. We could literally sit here and just talk about movies forever
Oh,
about
I
Jack
mean,
Nicholson. But
oh yeah.
my favorite is, I think, The Shining. I love The Shining. I grew up
The
watching that.
Shining's
It's an
great.
amazing movie. My favorite Jack Nicholson movie, if you want like a really good performance from him, are two of them. Five Easy Pieces is really, really good.
Hmm.
As like a man on the edge who's about to lose control. And then,
Yeah.
oh God, what's the Last Detail? Is another really
Oh.
good movie where it's him and he's traveling around on like shore leave, trying to get somebody back who has gone abandoned their post for the Navy, and
Oh, that sounds a little
that's a
familiar.
really really good movie. Yeah, The Last Detail. Check that one out.
I don't think I've actually seen it, but I think I've seen, or I'm
I've
aware
sent you
of it.
some of the clips from it
Yeah.
before because
Yeah,
there are
because
some
for me,
very some very
obviously, I don't
funny
know.
parts of that movie from Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. See, my favorite Jack Nicholson isn't even, he's not even the main guy, but he steals the show is A Few Good Men.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
one. Yeah,
oh,
the
I
first Batman
love that
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
Like, that's my other movie that I quote a lot. But like there's so many movies I quote all the time.
you ever
I mean,
dance
I
with the
feel
devil
like
in the pale
anything
moonlight?
he's in, he just kind of steals it. I ask all my prey that.
Another person who did not get along with Jackie Boy here was Ray Winestone, who plays Mr.
Oh,
French. They hated
yeah.
each other. They did not like each other at all. There was
Oh,
constant tension between them. Yeah, apparently it was a lot of it was Jack
that's
Nicholson
rough,
kind
man,
of
because
just
they
being
were.
Jack Nicholson,
Oh,
refusing to do certain things, demanding to do certain
that's fair.
things, changing the script, changing this, changing that. And all of that was in his contract. He
Yeah,
basically had the ability to do that. That was how they got him on
yeah.
board. Um, and so yeah, that kind of drove Ray a little bit crazy, and he did not enjoy his time
I,
working with him.
I get it.
Yep. More characters here. We got Matt Damon, who plays Colin,
Yes.
who's kind of, I guess, the second most important character behind Leo here.
I'd
Matt
say
Damon, actually from Boston,
yes.
unlike a lot of the other people in this movie. Although Mark Whalberg, also from Boston.
Yeah, Mark. We got
Mark
Mark.
didn't
We
even have
got
to. Apparently, his accent was so thick they didn't even have to worry about like doing anything with like an
no.
accent coach. He was just able to fucking slip right back into it.
I was about to
Like
say. I mean,
he
well,
just
that's like,
slipped right into it.
do you remember him in Transformers movie? He's like, I'm an inventor from Texas. Like,
Yes, that's the
it's
silliest shit
like,
in the world.
it's so amazing because it's like he has the Boston accent. Like
Yes,
when I think of
like
Boston accent, I think of Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg is
Like,
amazing. Don't make him a fucking doctor or a scientist. Like, why do you need to do that? Don't.
he's
He is
he's a
not
science
that.
teacher.
He's not a
He's
science
a
teacher.
science teacher talking about mysteries.
I
They
don't
don't know
even think
anything
he
about.
knows science. I'd be surprised if he knew what the chemical compound of water is. I do not think that he's that kind of a person. I just
H2O,
don't.
is that like a water brand? I don't know that one. Is it like Evian? You got. I like Fiji. Anyway,
So Matty Damon, who we were talking about, has been in a shit ton of movies. Also a director, also a writer. I guess kind of
yes.
still known for Good Will Hunting is kind of like his big one.
Yeah.
That's the one
How
that
do you
I
like them
always.
apples?
I do you like them apples? Another very Boston movie.
Oh yes.
Probably more Boston-y than this movie because this movie, in spite of it being set in Boston, was not filmed mostly in Boston.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, we'll talk about what happened there. A lot of it comes down to taxes. The fucking taxes.
Ah, fucking tax man.
Yeah, fucking tax man, yeah. So next up we got Leonardo DiCaprio playing the main character of
Hell
Billy.
yeah.
I love me some Leo. He's
Oh,
good
yeah.
in. I wish he would do more silly movies. That's like my only
Yeah.
thing with Leonardo DiCaprio is God. I wish he was more like Nick Cage and would take his like crazy intensity to more like silly roles. He doesn't.
Yes.
And that's cool, you know.
It's fine, you know.
But you can see a lot of like how Leonardo DiCaprio, like if you took him and put him like in a Z level horror movie, he would be fucking amazing.
Oh yeah.
And
Well,
unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to get that. But
no, I think Tarantino got close with Once Upon
Tarantino
a
is
Time in
about as
Hollywood.
close as you can get him to do like goofy shit, and Scorsese with
with Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street with the drug scenes and stuff like that, where you can
Yeah.
see Leonardo DiCaprio is like Okay, he's a very funny person without trying to be funny.
Yes.
Like, it would be cool to see him, like, embrace
I
that
would,
side of himself. But
I would love it.
that's fine. He's
It's
been
fine.
in a
He's
lot of.
really good.
I was gonna say he's good in like everything. Growing up in like the '90s, of course, was mostly known for Titanic, and a lot of people kind of started hating on him for that, just because like that was he was kind of like girls' teen dream kind of idol thing situation there. But I think the way he kind of morphed out of that by choosing like roles with directors and writers who were like very like traditional, like I just want to make money. Instead, like he kind of chooses roles that explore like things that aren't really interested in making money. And like The Revenant, that movie didn't make anywhere near as much money as he could have made with a movie at that time. And the idea behind the movie of like a man getting attacked by a bear, kind of a weird idea for like a mainstream movie. But I really like a lot of Leonardo DiCaprio movies. I am a Leonardo DiCaprio fan. Going back to The Growing Pains, I was a fan of him then, and I even like Titanic a little bit. Like I've seen it enough times that I'm like, yeah, this movie's fine.
I saw that movie in the theater.
Yeah, I did too. I was told to close my eyes when the titties came out. I didn't.
Yep. So, okay. Were we in the same theater?
We might have been.
Oh God!
Next up is I don't know. I don't think parents take people to theaters anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say they just. What are you going to have them cover their eyes while they're looking at an iPad? Anyway, exactly. I'm not going to be one of those.
We also got
these kids.
We also got Martin Sheen.
Hells yeah!
It was amazing. Plays Quinnen.
Now I'm going to say he didn't sound like a Boston native to me.
No, he does not sound like a Boston native at all. Not in the slightest.
Not that he does a bad job, but it doesn't sound natural.
No, it does not. It does not. Then we got Anthony Anderson.
Favorite role from him was in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Oh yeah, Anthony Anderson is great in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yes, he's like in that burger place or whatever, and he's like just thinking about those little White Castle burgers.
Some more Anthony Anderson movies. He was in like Romeo Must Die, which is a silly movie. Cradle to the Grave, or some more Jet Li movies.
Oh wow!
Of course, Kangaroo Jack, your favorite.
Yes,
and
I've never actually seen that movie.
You're not missing much. I loved him in Be Myself and Irene. He's great in that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was also in just for us locals here in Memphis. He was in Hustle and Flow, which is also another great movie. He's actually from I think he's from Little Rock, or maybe he's from California. Okay, so I was gonna say I thought he was from maybe around here because he does the Memphis accent very very well, but not actually from here apparently. So anyway, Anthony Anderson, a lot of cool stuff there. Next up, we got Alec Baldwin, who has been in the news a bunch recently.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those, don't meet your hero kind of guys, because I know he's an asshole, but...
Yeah.
But...
He's great here.
Oh, he's awesome.
One of his better movies that he's been in a shitload of movies, Alec Baldwin has been, so it's kind of hard to say which one's his best one, but this one and Glengarry Glen Ross are like some of the better Alec Baldwin performances.
Oh, yeah.
I really like.
That's when he's. I assume that's how he's really like, though.
Oh yeah, more than likely, yeah. Playing the therapist here, and our connection to last week because she was in a couple episodes of the Hawkeye TV show is Vera Farmiga, who was an Oscar nominee for Up in the Air. She's also been in a lot of horror movies. She's been in Orphan and Bates Motel and stuff like that. So some background there as well. But she was not the first choice for the role here, but she is the one they eventually settled upon. And the last actor or actress that we will talk about is a favorite of mine because I think he's great in all the movies. He plays Billy's cousin, and that is Kevin Corrigan.
Yes.
And anytime you see him in a movie, he is amazing. And I love that he talks shit about Puerto Ricans being a Puerto Rican. I think that's funny. That's a good time. And
that's amazing.
Anytime he shows up in any movie, he's one of those underrated actors who doesn't get a lot of credit. He is amazing in everything he's pretty much in. He's always good at things. And I'm glad to see him.
You recognize him right away. What was he on a show? Am I remembering him from a
he's
show?
been in it. He was in Grounded for Life, that TV show for a while, which is not the best, but
I was gonna say I don't know why that's the show I remember.
That's the one. You're like Grounded for Life. Yeah, no. He was also in Buffalo 66 and Big Fan. He's been in a lot of shit.
He's one of those guys. He just rolls into a movie and it's like, hey.
Yes, so exactly, awesome. Right. So let's go on a little bit more about the cast, because it's interesting to talk about who all was offered roles in this movie and turned them down.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people. Brad Pitt was offered a role. He was offered the Matt Damon role, and he turned it down. He actually dropped out, but stayed on as the producer.
I think, honestly. I think Matt Damon definitely being a little younger looking makes more sense. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, it would help with the setting in Boston thing. I do not believe for a second Brad Pitt could put on a good Boston accent.
I don't know. He put on that Irish accent for that Packy accent or whatever, or what do they call him? What do they call him?
I know what movie you're talking about, but Snatch. Yeah, I guess it may be. Maybe.
What did they call him?
I do not remember. Yeah,
that's probably an offensive term. Probably. Sorry. It's from the movie, though.
So the role of Dignam, Mark Whalberg's role, was also offered to the following people. Ray Liotta. He accepted it, but then dropped out. It was also offered to Dennis Leary, who said no because he was in the middle of doing his TV show. Yeah. And for God knows how many times, we have yet to talk about him directly. We will at some point. But he has shown up as like a role offered in so many of these movies we've talked about as Ethan Hawke. Once again, Ethan Hawke turned down a role in another fucking movie. I don't know how many times it's been like, oh yeah, Ethan Hawke was offered a role here. Turned it down. Yeah. Once again, Ethan Hawke said no. So, that was for Dignam. That was all for Mark Wahlberg's character. Was those people were offered the role there? So could have been very different if Ray Liotta.
I would say it would be Ray Liotta would be very different.
Yeah.
I would take it more as like his character in Smokin' Aces. I think would be the closest.
Yeah. I think the closest you could get, like Dennis Leary, I feel like would probably be the closest to Mark Wahlberg. Ethan Hawke would be a little wild choice, but I think Ethan Hawke would have been amazing, though.
Well, I mean, of course, because he's awesome.
Yeah, he would have probably spent a lot of time and effort into like learning a Boston accent and really developing that. So that could have been good. And Dennis Leary also, like, I don't think he has to fix that. I think he could just kind of easily slip into that. Yeah.
And he would have been. I think the difference between him, he'd probably be a lot more wiry, more high energy, probably a little bit more.
Yep.
Like deliver his lines with a little more something, a little different kind of intensity. But yeah.
More characters who were offered roles. Jack Nicholson's character was originally offered to be Al Pacino, who turned it down.
Oh.
Al Pacino would go on to work with Martin Scorsese in that Netflix movie they did.
The Irishman?
The Irishman, I was going to say. It was a very fucking long movie.
I didn't watch it.
It was very long. I watched part of it, but I had to turn it off. It was too long. Because originally Jack Nicholson turned down this role. He was not interested in doing this, but he had to be kind of begged, or not really begged, but pleaded with between Martin, Leo, and the writer of the movie all came to him and kind of basically told him, if you sign on, you pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever you want to do. And that's kind of what he got. And you'll see that in the beginning of the plot of the movie. Kind of just does whatever the fuck he wants to do a lot of the time.
Yep.
Especially when it gets to the second half of the movie. Yeah. As he kind of begins to unravel with who's keeping an eye on him. He starts to kind of starts to go down a crazy hole there. More characters who were offered. Mel Gibson was offered a role, turned it down because he was doing Apocalyptico, which is a movie that we'll actually talk about at some point.
Yeah.
Anthony Anderson's character was offered to be the RZA, who turned it down and regrets it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that could have been a really good one.
That could have been good.
Robert De Niro actually signed on and was going to be in this and then had to back out because he was going to be directing The Good Shepherd, which would actually star Matt Damon in it, which is a movie that I also saw in theaters. And I thought The Good Shepherd is okay. A little slow, but it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Tom Cruise was offered a role, the Leonardo DiCaprio role, and that ended up not happening.
that's probably for the best.
Yeah, I think that could have been a little bit weird there.
Yeah, because we don't, he didn't really do any stunts or anything, so I don't think it would really appeal to Tom Cruise.
That would have been a little bit hard, right?
Like, all right, so when am I going to drive a motorcycle off a cliff? Like,
so
what?
that is pretty much it for the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get into the background, we'll sprinkle in the background as we talk about the plot, because that'll kind of be more fun. But some little production background history things before we get into the actually talking about the movie is this is one of the first movies that we've talked about that was not filmed in sequence. So a lot of the movies that we watched and have watched were filmed and if you're not sure if you've listened to us talk about that before and you're not sure what that means, in sequence basically means like you filmed the movie as it was written. So the beginning of the movie, the first thing you would film would be the start of the movie, and then you would continue on like you were reading the movie all the way through, like a book, and just filming it as you were going in the narrative order it goes in. And of course that helps with like characters' relationships, character building, all of those things. This movie did not do that because of different people's schedules. So, like, everything with Mark Whalberg was filmed up front because then he had to go fuck off and do other things. Everything with Vera Farmiga was not filmed until the end because she was in the middle of doing other things. So, yeah, there was a lot of things that had to be kind of lined up.
Yeah.
A lot of it was fixed in editing. And this movie would, of course, win an Oscar for Best Editing. And the way it's edited is like it kind of builds that tension and that feeling, which is one of the reasons why this movie is kind of, I think, persisted for a long time afterwards. A lot of other Oscar winners kind of fade and go, you know.
Yeah,
having
that's
people
right.
talk about Crash and shit like that, right?
No, I've never even seen it.
The English Patient, things like that. But
Still never
The
seen
Departed, this is one that people continue to talk about. And a lot of it, I think, is because of the way it's written and because of the way it's edited.
Hell yeah. Speaking of that, just kind of getting into that, shooting in sequence, that kind of, I don't know, would that be your preference for you to make a movie? Would you prefer?
Yeah, I would prefer to shoot in sequence just because I think it would make the most sense. But if you're doing an action movie, then you kind of can't for most action movies because
that's what I was thinking.
Have like your big set pieces that you have to have set up beforehand because those are going to be what cost the most. So I guess it just kind of depends on what you're doing.
I figured that was kind of a dumb question now that I think then because I think most directors would want to do it. If left to my own
devices, I would just direct like weird indie movies where people just talk a lot, and then I would just kind of film it in sequence. You know, keep it easy.
Keep it simple. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah. No reason to get all crazy.
Rashomon style for no reason. Like the movie's not that. The movie's normal in sequence. But you film it Rashomon style,
just to fuck with challenge.
Just to fuck with the challenge, yeah. See if you can, Oh god.
So this movie, even though it is set in Boston and features a lot of Boston characters, the primary bulk of the movie was filmed in New York City, and that is largely because of a 15% tax cut that they gave them to film there. This would actually inspire the state of Massachusetts to increase their movie tax cut to 25% to increase movies being filmed in Boston or in other outlying areas, which would directly relate to The Town with Ben Affleck we just talked about. That was filmed in Boston.
Nice.
Boston features like prominently in there. I mean, the if you haven't seen The Town, the premise of the movie is basically like a heist movie involving a Boston sports team. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, it's it's an interesting little premise. And that one was filmed in Boston because after this one was so successful, they kind of encouraged the state to, like I said, do the tax break, which led to more movies getting made there.
Oh, that's cool. I think if I was going to visit any place in the Northeast like that, New England area, it'd definitely be Boston.
Yeah,
more than any of them. More than New York, more than Philadelphia, any of that, Boston for me.
Yeah, Boston, same. There was a lot of things that Jack Nicholson refused to do that we'll talk more about as we get into the plot of the movie, but like he refused to wear a Red Sox hat. Him having two different sex workers, one being black and one being white, that was his idea. Throwing the cocaine, that was his idea. Pretty much everything he says is his idea. Like, there's a lot of Jack Nicholson just being a weirdo, which is why sometimes, like, a lot of what he says makes no fucking sense, because you're just like,
no,
this isn't reality TV. You're like, what the fuck are we talking about?
What is that? They call that a paradox. Like, what?
No,
what?
they don't. No, they don't. It's a different thing, Jack. It's a different thing. Oh, God. So the only reference that the movie was going to have to the Infernal Affairs was the triad scene. That was supposed to have some of the same characters. That ended up not happening. So there's literally no reference at all to the two movies between themselves.
Oh.
And like I said at the beginning, Martin did not even watch the first movie at all before he did this. Didn't even know that it was a remake when he signed on to do it. So had no idea about the first one at all.
I think that makes it pretty good, honestly. Like, cause...
Now, the creators of Infernal Affairs, in response to this movie, would say that they were a little unsatisfied with this, that so much of it was very similar, which I think is interesting, that in spite of him not watching it, he still came up with a lot of similarities.
Yeah. I mean, just following the script, I'm sure you can definitely see something like that.
Before we get into the plot of the movie and sprinkle in a little bit more background, because there's a lot that went on in the filming of this movie, a lot. There's a lot to get into with Jack Nicholson. There's a lot to get into how they went about writing the movie, scripting the movie, a lot of little fun things that happened in the course of it. But before we get into that, of course, we need to have Travis Trivia, right?
Yeah.
We'd be remiss if we did not look at the songs that were in the charts on this particular day in October of 2006, when this lovely movie of ours hit the world. And music is such a big this movie. This movie's soundtrack actually would get released. I have it here in front of me, and the soundtrack came out on November 7th, so a month later.
Ooh.
And unfortunately, none of the people in the soundtrack are in the charts, so this isn't going to help you at all. But the soundtrack did feature the following. We got Let It Loose by the Rolling Stones.
Nice.
Which is another time Martin Scorsese uses the Rolling Stones. He uses them a lot.
That's because they're awesome.
Yeah. We also get Pink Floyd by the way of Van Morrison.
Yeah.
So Pink Floyd cover of Comfortably Numb performed by Van Morrison, which is a fun cover.
I like Van Morrison a lot. Especially my favorite Van Morrison thing is that album he put out with just these asinine nothing songs because he just had a contractual obligation. So there's a song where he's like, you say France and I whistle. Like, that's all he says. It's amazing.
My favorite Van Morrison is his 60s psychedelica band, The Them.
The Them.
That was my favorite. Oh, yeah, they're a good time. They had some fucking killer proto-punk songs.
Yeah. Gloria. I mean.
Next on the soundtrack was Sail On Sailor by the Beach Boys. Another good one.
Yeah.
Sweet Dreams by Roy Buchanan. There we go. On One Way Out by the Allman Brothers.
Awesome.
Baby Blue by Badfinger.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody But Me by the Human Beings. As a weird deep cut to throw on this.
I was going to say.
We got two soundtrack cuts, which are from Howard Shore, who was the composer of the music. Mm-hmm. We got Twiddle Dee by Laverne Baker, and Sweet Dreams by Patsy Cline, and of course, closing it out is I'm Shipping Up to Boston by the Dropkick Murphys, who the Dropkick Murphys are the group I always associate with this movie because Shipping Up to Boston features so prominently in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great fucking
almost
song.
A character of itself.
Yes. So, let's talk about the songs that were in the charts when this movie came out, though.
Let's see what I know about the charts.
This is a tough one. This is an eclectic list here. So
no shit.
Number 5, definitely eclectic. Number 5 is like a 2000s hair metal wannabe band that somehow charted with a power ballad.
Oh, God, I'm 2000s hair metal wannabe?
Like kind of hair metal wannabe. Yeah.
The Darkness?
No, I'm not. I was about to say I'm not talking about The Darkness or Wolfmother.
Oh God, that was going to be my only two guesses.
This is Hinder, Lips of an Angel.
Okay,
the other. Song. Yeah, it's a terrible song. Yeah. It's a terrible song. Terrible song. Number 4 is She Was a Member of the Black Eyed Peas.
Hey, is she Fergalicious?
She is. This is not that song though. This is a song about going down.
Oh, London Bridge. Oh,
London Bridge is going down. Yeah. This was
God,
still
so
for those Gen Zs listening. This is because there are some of you apparently. Welcome. Those of you that are listening, y'all missed the Fergie train, so I'm just going to explain it from a millennial perspective. There was a time period, and I don't know why. This white woman who was inexplicably in the Black Eyed Peas, who did things in there, I guess. I don't know what.
Yeah,
she somehow got tangentially famous and adapted to her own music career, which was mostly comprised of this one album and a lot of songs that have not aged very well.
No.
And most of them are about dicks. I was going to say most of them are about cocks. Yeah, a lot of cock talk. Cock talk.
Cock talk.
That should have been the name of the album, Cock Talk with Fergie. But it was not. Number 3 was a kind of indie rock band that was mostly known for being on medical TV shows like Scrubs and Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, you kind of cut out there a little bit.
Shit.
We on to the next song?
Yeah, hold on. I'm coming back. I'm waiting for it to take back over, giving some editing time. The next song is a kind of indie-ish rock band. They're mostly known for being on the soundtrack for TV shows about doctors, like Scrubs and Grey's Anatomy. Indie-ish rock. They're not an indie rock band, but they pretend to be. 2006.
They would have charted?
Yeah, they charted.
God.
Yeah.
That one actually has me stumped. I can't actually think of a song or a band or any songs from those shows. I also I don't really watch medical procedurals or anything like that.
There was The Fray, How to Save a Life.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. There you go. I'm not sure.
I forget about that band.
Yeah, I do as well. They're not one of the ones that sticks out in my mind, but they had not one big song. They had a couple big songs, actually. And I say indie rock because, I think they wanted to be, associated with an indie rock band. This is, also during that time period in the 2000s where, Death Cab for Cutie, some indie rock bands started kind of breaking rock through. It wasn't really, the indie rock sound more so than, actually being on any particular indie label.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the only song I can think of from The Fray, actually.
I'm sure they have others, but same. That's the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Well, next up is number 2. This was a hip-hop rap song by a Southern rapper who had done a lot of hits up to this point.
Oh, Southern rapper. God, I don't actually know where any...
He frequently wants people to move, bitch, get out the way.
Okay, there we go. He's being a little ludicrous.
Yes. Ludacris is indeed here with Shake Your Money Maker is number 2. Which is not a half bad song. I love me some Ludacris.
Yeah. My favorite thing about Ludacris was back when that Bill O'Reilly shithead was on TV.
Oh, yeah, that dude, yeah.
He was boycotting Pepsi because Ludacris was endorsing it or something. I was like, kind of want Pepsi.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah. I completely forgot about him. Oh, wow, that took me back.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world. Forget about it.
Yeah. Number 1 in the world is a man that we talked about last week whenever he was doing a song with several different people. Once again, here working with Timbaland. Any guesses?
Oh, our boy JT?
Any ideas on what his song was, what the number 1 song was for him?
And I don't know. I'm going to just say Sexy Back just because that is the
only one that, he's trying to bring Sexy back. There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, this was during the peak of the Sexy Back sound to Justin Timberlake. So, well, thank y'all for listening halfway through. This has been a Wi-Fi disaster, and I'll have to see how I can fix all this. But we're gonna take a break and come back and talk about the plot of The Departed. Hey, welcome to the middle of the show. Travis, are you ready to discuss what we're going to watch next week?
I am so ready. I'm fair to middle. I was literally just sitting here thinking of a middle.
That's a bad pun. That's a bad pun.
It was a bad pun.
That's terrible.
And that's about...
It's terrible. Which actually kind of foreshadows next week's episode because it is not going to be a good time. We have now talked about the heights of Marky Mark. This might be his best movie. Let's talk about the lows of Marky Mark as when it comes to the post-apocalypse, as we are going to look at M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening. It has finally come time.
What? No.
Come on back and we'll talk about The Happening next time.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the show. Let's talk about the plot of The Departed.
Let's get into the plot.
You know, I've always wanted to make sure that my environment is a product of me. And so does Jack. That's the only thing we have in common, I think, in this movie.
They call that a paradox.
And our love of whores. It's just... You weren't expecting that. You weren't expecting that. You weren't expecting that.
Boy. No.
There you go. Curveball, bitch. Throw that at you.
That was awesome. I wasn't ready. I liked it. We're starting off.
All jokes aside. So Jack gives this whole big speech that sets all these clips of some of the Irish kind of civil rights disputes going back in some ways, showing the development of the different kind of cultures that are going to be featured prominently in the movie. And this builds up to him meeting Colin for the first time.
Yeah, we start. It's right away. We get Jack Nicholson just being Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, kind of a creepy dude. Like, you know, have you had your period yet, Carmen?
Yeah, like that. Like, well, and also he says, like, back in the day we had the church.
Yeah,
which is just a way of saying we had each other. Like, huh?
Yep.
What? So, you can just sort of tell he's making his own way through this movie. So
he does do a lot of that. I feel like he was given bullet points, like you need to hit these key elements, and then was just told, get there however you want, and we'll figure it out. And he just was like, we're gonna figure it out. And so a lot of it does kind of go a little rambly at times, but he does do some memorable lines at the beginning. You know, like when you're staring down the barrel of a gun, what's the difference? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So he's playing Frank Costello, who was the name of a gangster.
Oh, wait, really?
Is not anything to do with this version of Frank Costello. Yeah, this version of Frank Costello has more to do with Whitey Bulger than it does to do with Frank Costello. So, are you familiar with Whitey Bulger? Okay, yeah, he was in not in Public Enemies, but he was like the premises of Public Enemies and some of those. Or was it Public? No, it was Black Mass. It's the other Johnny Depp gangster movie.
Yeah, Public Enemies. That was another Johnny Depp one, but he was
Internet's out
again
again.
On that one. So he's played a few gangsters.
Yeah. Johnny Depp did a couple gangster movies there back to back to back. And one of them was a Black Mass, and that one is the one with Whitey Bulger. And
that's right.
That one is also set kind of what this character is based off of. That was some of the inspiration Jack took into it was Whitey Bulger. So even though he
Whitey
has
Bulger
the same name,
because he was like a
scumbag.
psycho.
Yeah, he was a psycho who was an FBI informant who was kind of able to kind of run carte blanche over this area because he knew that he could kind of do whatever because he couldn't actually go to jail for anything really of substance as long as he didn't break certain rules, and he was always willing to give people up if it got too dirty. I've watched a few documentaries on Whitey Bulger. He seemed like a real asshole. Bulger, kind of a bad dude. And this kind of makes Frank Costello, in spite of being the name of another gangster, that gangster has nothing to do with this one. Instead, this one is based largely on Whitey Bulger. Kind of also taking a lot of his own and kind of inspiration from elsewhere. Jack Nicholson does as well. And he's kind of a creepo at first here as he meets a young Colin. And he kind of helps him out, though. He buys him a bunch of food, buys him some comic books, sends the kid on his way. And the kid kind of remembers it and keeps, as I can say, he keeps coming back to him as they kind of develop this relationship where he definitely kind of takes him under his wing. And this leads to the first time jump of the movie where now we are going into the future as we meet Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio, our two leads.
I like that time jump.
Yeah, it's great.
It was done very well.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So
as both of them are now in the police academy and are going through, we kind of see their different positions and as they go through it. Like Leo kind of seems to have a more regular kind of traditional go of things, whereas Matt Damon's career kind of seems to be accelerated by a lot of things falling in his way, so to speak.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're very much like, and I don't know if it's, I don't know if Leo's character is like younger maybe or something, or started later, or, but
Yeah, I
he's
think
definitely
so.
like a cadet,
Yeah, yeah.
like,
Yeah, or he's a
and
cadet, whereas Matt Damon is like immediately he goes into like he graduates, then he goes into like a
he's
separate program for state
yeah, and
police
he's like doing
officers. Yeah.
yeah, and he's doing plain clothes detective by the
Hmm.
time Leo's just going in
For his
as a
interview.
cadet.
Yeah, for his interview for the
Yeah,
first time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah,
so
I love the way that they set up the beginning of it, and we get a lot
well,
of
and
wonderful lines
especially
during this
the
part of the movie.
it also sets up a really cool thing that I really dug whenever I watched it again was the way that they interact with women,
Oh yeah.
the two characters. Like right off the bat, when when we when when Matt Damon comes out of the office after getting a little bit of a dressing down from Marky Mark, he or at least a little taste, and he talks to that receptionist, and she's like, she kind of seems all into him, but then she just kind of passes off Leo. She's like, you can go in.
Yeah, yeah.
So you see that dynamic right away of like,
Oh yeah.
there's a very but I also thought about it. The first part of the movie, we see Colin seeing the interaction between Frank and that lady, that girl. And so I guess he just sort of was like, well, this is the guy he admires, so this is how he's going to.
That's how he assumes he's supposed to behave. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it shows in their mutual relationship with the same woman later on that they kind of both have different sides of that. Yeah, they're supposed to be two sides of the same coin, basically.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
They could not be clearer. They do such a good job. But yeah, so Matt Damon, he gets his dressing down. Well, sort of dressing down. He just kind of gets a little bit of a taste of Marky Mark.
Yeah, just a taste. Yeah. Leo gets the full sample because Leo is not of the, normative behavior?
Yeah, departure from a normative behavior.
Yeah, this is one of the best scenes of the movie, where Marky Mark and Leo have their whole interaction. With Martin Sheen kind of just riding second gear, like kind of just there. Yeah. Like, he's not wrong. You're not a cop. Like, all these little things where he's like...
It's an honest question.
Yeah. Like, do you want to pretend to be a cop? Or do you want to be a cop?
A lot of guys pretend.
Yeah. I love it. Is that Hawthorne?
Oh, it's mad a smart ass. You don't know any Shakespeare.
Yeah. The funny thing is, it is fucking Hawthorne. Like, nothing to do with Shakespeare. Nothing to do with Shakespeare at all. Great. It's great. It's great.
It's so good.
Yeah, their introduction to the job. So basically, if you've never seen the movie, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, here's what's happening. Matt Damon is getting kind of immediately promoted to kind of a in charge position where he gets to show up to work not dressed like he's going to invade Poland, as he says.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas Leo's background is one that they kind of immediately characterize as being a dual personality because his parents divorced. He was one person on one time, one person at a different time. Depending on when he was
lace curtain motherfucker.
He was a lace curtain motherfucker. Yeah. When he was with his dad, he was dropping his R's, and when he was with his mom, he was acting like a different person. He had two different accents, didn't you motherfucker? Yeah.
Psychiatrist?
Sigmund fucking Freud. No. Just kidding.
I wouldn't get an answer.
Just keep making jokes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we are. It's gonna happen. I don't think. Well, I mean, that's just what that movie is to us.
Yeah, it's a bunch of famous lines just put together with some scenes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, because that's what keeps drawing us back in. That's why we keep talking about it to each other. Like we're constantly quoting this movie, so it's gonna be heightened.
The next thing we know is Leo is basically recruited to be an undercover cop working for Costello. Yep. And in order to get that going, they need to go the whole distance. So that means Leo has to go to jail for a crime that he is going to use that to be he committed and do the whole thing. And then he's going to get out, and no one's going to know he's working for them other than these two guys. And for this, there's a sizable bonus, tax-free.
and we kind of get a little, like a couple of Quentin Tarantino-esque moments here in the movie so far. We don't see the amount. He just hands that to him.
Yeah.
And earlier, when Matt Damon was graduating from the academy, he goes to the car where Frank is, and he hands him this box, and he just opens it, and he's like, wow. And he's like, school's out, we don't know what's in the box. So it's very Quentin Tarantino-esque.
Yeah, true. I was going to say, I like that you said school out, because there's a couple of Alice Cooper references that he drops here.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a good time. Another one of those like Rolling Stones kind of type things that he puts all throughout here.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, with it, speaking of music, this is where we get our cut to with Shipping Up to Boston by the Dropkick Murphys, as we see, Leo go through prison and everything that he has to go through as he goes through until he gets all the way out, and then he meets up with his cousin from Boston. Could not make that joke. So him and his cousin from Boston, they decide they're going to deal a little coke, and this is I love how all the things he does like set up his ability to make his way to Frank. Like he starts off like, okay, he's going to be pissed if I'm selling drugs in his area, so I'm going to do that, and then that is going to let me to get to French, but then I need to stand out in French's mind. I get into a fight that he has to break up, and then that everything seems to be like a little bit of a progression. If you think about it, like he's actively choosing to do these things to get closer to Frank. He's like insanely intelligent. Or you can look at it like these things just accidentally happen and he ends up there. Either way, he gets where he's going.
I was about to say. No, I like giving him the agency on that because, he got a 1400 on his SAT. He's an astronaut. He's not a fucking cop.
You are an astronaut. You're not a fucking cop. In 5 years, you will be many things, but a cop is not one of them.
Oh, God. God, it's so good.
So as this is happening, Matt Damon is kind of learning all about like love in the workplace as he starts to fall for this psychiatrist that he sees cops and kind of doing all these different things as he's conniving and cutting his own way through the corporate ladder as he tries to move his way up to higher and higher in the ranks, both to benefit himself. Yeah, but also to benefit Costello. So it's kind of interesting how both of them simultaneously are working their way up to where they want to be, right? Going back to what you said with Leo having agency, right? Like, Matt Damon is actively choosing these things, but he's also getting help from Frank, who sets up a lot of dominoes in his, kind of lays out a lot of dominoes in his path, so he can knock him down and take credit, right?
Absolutely.
And Leo, on the other hand, is having to kind of connive and fight his way through his journey to Frank. So it's very different paths they take, if you think of them as like that. But yeah, I like how they kind of mirror each other's two different kind of heroes' journeys going on.
It's like Matt Damon is going downstream and Leo's going upstream, like in terms of like the difficulty in which they're facing and like their actions, like how much they have to fight. And like Matt Damon barely has to fight at all, and
Leo's has to fight. He has to kick some shit at some guys from fucking Providence.
Oh yeah,
we shouldn't cry over spilled guineas though. So this leads to Jack.
God, I hope that's not a slur.
It might be. It probably is. This leads to Jack and Leo meeting for the first time, and this meeting is memorable because he gets his arm destroyed in it.
Yeah,
and he gets paid to go get it fixed, but. We also hear Leo declare that he's not a fucking cop. He's going to start selling coke deals with your fucking cousin.
With his cop magnet cousin. So earlier, like, going back to the arm thing, like when he does like smash his hand on that when he's punching that Italian dude, that mobster, this is another highlight of the difference between Matt Damon and Leo as far as their relationship with women. He's out on that. Matt Damon's out on that date with that psychiatrist, and they cut back to Leo, who is getting his arm worked on by a lady doctor. And it's just she's just working on him. She's not really paying attention to him. Again, see that dichotomy. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good shit.
It is.
So
Marty,
my favorite part.
Yeah,
exactly. My favorite part of this scene is after this is over when Jack walks out and he's like, "Who let this NRA motherfucker in my bar?"
IRA
motherfucker. NRA, well, that's a different kind of thing. That'd be my bar. Who let this NRA motherfucker in my bar? Who let this IRA motherfucker in my bar? Yeah,
it's Clint Eastwood. He's just yelling at a chair, an empty chair.
He's having a Mexican standoff with two empty chairs. Just don't make a move. Like, all right there, Clint. Take it easy there, big fella.
You're definitely Blondie, the no-name stranger. That's right.
Yeah, I love that he tells the guy that my mother's going out. We all are.
My mother's on her way out. Oh God, that's such a good line.
I have used that line several times in real life.
We all
gotten to use that.
Act accordingly. Oh, it's so good to use.
Gotten to use that one. It's a good one to use.
It's like a gangster line, man.
It is. So this leads to Leo starting to work for Jack, which is exactly what they wanted. And when his first meeting he has with him is very intense. This is when you get the what do you know about John Lennon, and Leo jokingly says he was the president after Lincoln. Which is funny.
Was awesome.
It's a funny little clever way of being like, that's a stupid question to ask me. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, anytime somebody asks me who somebody is, and I definitely know who it is, I'm absolutely using that. I'm gonna say, he was the president before Lincoln. Oh.
So, Leo is also, while this is happening, Jack is playing with a decapitated hand.
Yeah.
From one of the guys up in Providence that they killed. And this is meant to kind of intimidate Leo, and it does, because he immediately flushes his recording stuff. He's like, I don't want, I'll do it, but no wires. I'm never wearing a fucking wire.
Yeah, because, and I get it. You don't want to get caught with a wire. Shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. As this is happening, Matt is getting promoted. Good old friend Colin there is getting promoted up the ranks to the point where he is now basically asked to kind of lead a own little group of a subgroup of cops.
Yeah.
Where he's looking for
a task force.
Yeah, like a task force. Where he was looking for himself. So he's a rat looking for himself.
He didn't get there yet. Right.
Oh, he's not there yet.
This group, not there yet. This group is for as its own task group, like a task force that dedicated to bringing down, Costello and the mafia, like the organized crime ring, whatever,
Yeah, so bringing down the organized crime.
Yeah, so he gets put in charge of that, and then he's like, I handpicked you, and one of them, he's got that guy that he was in the academy with,
Anthony
which
Anderson's
he's like,
character.
I'll bring you up. You're a worker.
That guy. Yeah. The guy that he was in the state he's with.
Yeah, whenever they were playing against the firemen.
Yeah. Firemen getting pussy since the first time a fucking fire were pussy.
So funny. And then we also get Andy Anderson. He's back. He's,
Yes, Anthony Anderson does show back up, which is interesting because he ends up being very important later, as he's one of the only characters that went to school with Leo. So he knows that he was a cop at one point.
That's right.
Even though his identity later on becomes kind of suspect and into question quite a bit.
Yes.
So some gangster shit later, and we start to develop characters leading up to Leo eventually making his way to therapy for the first time, where he turns out that he's seeing the same therapist that Matt Damon has now been dating for a little while. And they immediately have kind of an interesting conflicted relationship. Apparently Vera Farmiga here, she was actually consulted several different police psychologists while filming and after filming and during filming to kind of get an idea of how she did with her performance, and they told her she did everything wrong. Which kind of makes sense because she crosses a lot of lines really well and really easily with him. He's immediately I want fucking Valium, and she's like, the meeting tries to keep it together, and it's okay. I think immediately there would be some problems there.
Oh, absolutely.
But she's sympathetic to his situation.
Well, in maybe in her defense, I guess, in the character's defense, it is brought up earlier what Freud said about the Irish, that they're impervious to psychoanalysis,
which is actually apparently not true.
Oh, really?
He apparently never said that. Yeah. That's another one of those things that was not ever said. Yeah.
That's disappointing.
At least nothing that I could see. I'd say where he discussed it, but he never specifically said that phrase.
Okay.
That phrase has been attributed to him by other people, but he never actually says it himself. So.
Oh, well, it's a good line, at the very least.
And this is where we kind of see Leonardo DiCaprio starts to unwind a little bit as a character.
Yeah.
Because he starts to have... He himself described his character as basically having a 24-hour-long panic attack.
Yeah,
and you start to see some of that in the movie here, as he's like almost always nervously sweating. He's barely eating, sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes look horrible. As the movie progresses, he really is this like playing these two characters is really beginning to take an impact on him.
Oh yeah, no, you believe that he is struggling. Like Leo does a really good job on this one.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like I felt stressed out.
Mm-hmm. So this is all leading to the first of like our big setups, which is the sting operation that Alec Baldwin kind of springs on them.
Yeah.
And this is information that they have gotten from Leo to set this up. So Leo knows it's happening, and Queenan is under the impression that
microprocesses.
He's under the impression of what's going to go down. But all of this is sprung on Matt Damon really last second, so he doesn't have a lot of time to warn Jack. But enough that he's able to, also some police incompetence that Alec Baldwin, can I talk to you for a second, kind of deals with as it ends up basically that the deal goes through. Jack is able to get his money, Costello, and they're not able to get anyone arrested. And they're also not able to figure out who the rat is. But they are able to figure out that both sides know that there is a rat in the midst.
Oh,
the police
it
know
becomes
that someone's
very clear.
tipping them off. And the Costello knows that someone in his inner circle is tipping the police off.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And knowing now that roundabout way comes from Face Off makes it even cooler. Makes this part even cooler for me.
I like this scene because it has like Alec Baldwin. So this movie has 238 F words or variations thereof. And I think like at least 50 are said by Alec Baldwin in this little scene alone. Where he's just like, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself. Like
he's everybody. Where he's like, I'm going to smoke. You smoke? You don't smoke? What are you, one of the health freaks? Fuck you. You know?
That's how this speaks.
And then also that guy, the camera guy, or whatever, not Matt Damon, Marky Mark.
Oh, yeah.
When he's like, who put these cameras in here? He's like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy. So good.
It's perfect. Wonderful.
Oh, God.
Well, this immediately freaks out Leo because he knows that something's up. So he's about to jump ship. He's going to the airport.
That's right.
But he decides that they're gonna send some fake information down and kind of start to figure out who's on the other side by using disinformation. And Queenan,
smart.
Mark Whalberg's character, is in charge now. And he's day off.
I guess Queenan was I don't know, at a funeral or something. I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, he's at the day off.
And Marky Mark is just, or Dignam, he's really just no soft side, you know?
Mm-mm.
Like, he's just like, you got something or not, just, fucking, call me when you got something.
Yeah,
or, you know, like,
so
man.
while this is happening, Matt Damon's character, Colin, and the therapist are moving in together. And this is where she starts to see some of his weird behavior, where like he has no pictures of any background or family, because he doesn't really have any. Everything, basically, his entire life has been kind of a lie. He's this manufactured kind of creation of Costello's to do what he needed him to. So he doesn't really have any pictures because all of them would be of gangsters doing gangster shit, and he can't have that up there. And he also doesn't want her to have any pictures of her background up at all. So he's takes them all down and goes and puts them in the other room.
Yeah, it's like it's sort of a character trait of his at this point, where he's just like, he doesn't want any. I don't know. He just doesn't. He's not comfortable with the background, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just a ghost of a person.
I was gonna say, I think he's just because he's a shell of a person. He also is like, I think it's a way to protect her, and like he doesn't want anyone to know anything and any information about her that could lead to her getting hurt through him. It's kind of another thing that he's doing. Because he kind of is trying to like tell, like as he tells her whenever Frank calls him, that like a lot of my life is dealing in deception, and you're gonna have, that's something you're gonna have to get used to. But I'm never gonna lie to you, which of course is a lie. Everything he says is a lie.
I was about to say his entire existence is
just about the only thing he says that's real is at the very end when Leo has him and he's like, just fucking kill me.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the only like honest thing he says.
Yeah, that's like the only. I think I would say that's the only moment of vulnerability, because even whenever he's struggling, like whenever she spends the night that first time, and she's like, "So you want to talk about it?" And you can clearly see he's talking about, he's having troubles.
Oh yeah, that was apparently a Matt Damon decision.
Oh really?
Yeah, that was not in the script. Damon decided to add that because he wanted to give the character more flaws.
Oh shit!
Because he also thought that like Jack's over-sexualization would have led to him being like an over-sexualized child, and so he would kind of struggle sexually because of that. As like now that he's like a fully formed adult.
Holy shit! Good call, Matt Damon. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
because that's like a big character problem is he has some impotence, and that leads to like the thing with the baby at the end, where you don't know whose baby it is, but like when Matt Damon and her when they like are supposed to get intimate, like you said, it cuts off and it's like it happens to everybody. Do you want to talk about it? And when her and Leo have sex, it's like passionate. We get Van Morrison, Pink Floyd playing. Smoke on the horizon. All that stuff.
They're knocking shit off the counter. They're
getting that good fucking going.
It's like what was that 9.5 weeks or whatever? What was that movie with Mickey Rourke?
Because that's what you think of when you think of sex, is Mickey Rourke.
Is that wrong? Is that bad?
Is that not where you go? Is that not where you go to?
How fucked up are you?
It's hard for me. I only think of the wrestler, so I just go with Mickey Rourke.
Oh God. No, I'm thinking of 80s Mickey Rourke, man.
It's a different guy. Before he became a boxer and got punched in the face 100 times.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord. So, pressure starts to mount as... I love how the movie, like, builds and builds and builds. It's like this pressure cooker of tension as everything starts to kind of mount and mount and mount. As Dingham is getting in, them kind of start getting yelled at about who... They both want to find the rat. So, Matt's looking for himself, and Leo is trying to figure out who the rat on the police is, while also keeping an eye on what Frank is doing.
Yeah, that's right. Because, now, I think at this point, that's when Matt Damon gets tasked with looking for, he's like... Alec Baldwin is doing he's like at that golf range or whatever.
Yeah, he's doing the golfing. He's like...
and he's
how's your marriage coming along?
He's like, it looks, marriage is good. It lets people know you. I'm not going to say what one part he says.
He's gonna say,
but he says it makes, women see the ring, they figure you got money or your cock works. Like,
all of that.
It works overtime. Like, I think that feels like that goes right along with. I'm sure that was part of that whole thing too.
Oh yeah, that he's like sexually kind of trying to overcompensate.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's awesome. God, see, that becomes the other way where like he's sort of upstream on that one, and Leo's a little downstream. Like he doesn't, he just doesn't get a lot of chances. It seems like.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say the only thing that we really skipped over that was like kind of important is the one guy that French and Leo shake down, who kind of casually mentions before he gets the shit kicked out of him by Leo, who keeps saying, I'm high, that Costello is an FBI informant.
That's right.
Which Leo does not forget. He kind of keeps that in mind. That he's
he's like, what did you just say?
He's an FBI informant. Well, he's like immediately like that makes a lot of sense. Like we can't ever get a case to stick on him.
Nothing sticks
because as soon as it goes federal, that's like, something happened. The witnesses are gone, or the judge threw it out, or something like that. And it's like, all right, so.
Well, you know how I feel.
Because he's an FBI
what I always
informant.
say about what I always say about the FBI, they treat them like mushrooms. Feed them shit and keep them in the dock.
That's how I grow my mushrooms. Little did you know.
There you go.
So we kind of build more and more, and I love how everything is being juxtaposed. Like whenever Leo and Martin Sheen's character are having dinner, as he's like literally having a mental breakdown, you get like intersplices of Costello at like this opera with like these like very bright red lights behind him.
Oh yeah,
and it looks very diabolical. And then the cocaine scene, that was all Jack Nicholson. The cocaine scene was all Jack Nicholson.
I was going to say he probably brought his own.
Exactly right. Yeah,
that was his bowl. That was
And then we cut to the next pivotal scene is the one where they actually are getting their information down. Matt Damon tells him to like, hey, get socials, get nums, get names, get numbers, get addresses, because then I can figure out who's working for you and run them through our database.
Again, more of this like sexual overtone, or like this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
about,
they meet in a porn theater.
Yeah, and
that was also Jack Nicholson.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
But he, but that again, that goes to like with what he's saying is like maybe it's because it's never been hard for me to get pussy that I never understood jerking off in a theater.
Yeah.
Like it's like so it's more of that dynamic like of these two, like where he's getting his influence, like where Matt Damon gets his influence on how sexualized a man should be, like
as they do the exchange in the porn theater before he unveils his big black cock that he has for some reason. Another Jackism. The citizens is misspelled, and that was the thing that like Leo ends up being like a small little thing that ends up being a huge thing later on, because Leo does not put his information in there because he knows that this is a shady thing, that they want all of his information. Mm-hmm. But he does notice that the spelling is wrong, so he corrects the spelling and then fixes it, and then that envelope later on is what allows him to notice that Matt Damon is the rat.
So the way that's handled is so cool.
Oh yeah, it's like such a small little thing that ends up being like a very pivotal scene.
Oh yeah. Oh, but yeah, then through all this, I mean, Jack Nicholson's just getting more and more unhinged.
Oh yeah, he's going crazy.
He really is. I mean, and he's because like whenever he meets Leo in the bar, he's just like, I don't even know, like he's drawing a bunch of rats and
yeah, and almost that entire scene was improv.
No, it looked improv. Like Leo looks really confused at certain points.
He looks confused and legitimately scared, especially the one scene where like Jack leaves and then comes back and he's like don't tell him I'm behind him, and he shows up behind him again. Like Leonardo DiCaprio legitimately is like
eat
something. What the fuck are you doing behind me? like why are you fucking behind me? Kind of a situation.
Yeah, he's like, oh god, we're trying to do the scene, man. Like. So that one felt more. I like, even without knowing that about Jack Nicholson in this movie, like about him just doing whatever. Mm-hmm. I could feel it in that part, especially when he comes up behind him. Which just Leo's reaction feels.
I was going to say, which also like shows you how good of an actor Leonardo DiCaprio is, because he's basically holding this otherwise chaotic mess together.
Yes,
it's basically Jack Nicholson just losing his mind, doing weird, chaotic shit with a gun, withdrawing, lighting shit on fire, like just doing all kinds of random stuff. As Leonardo DiCaprio was trying to explain that he is not a fucking rat. I think I could do your job. Yeah,
I could do your job.
I don't want to do your job.
I don't want to do your job. Yeah, heavy lies the crown. Like,
yeah. This is one of the best scenes of the entire movie.
God,
it's an amazing scene. It's one of the best scenes of the whole movie.
Where Leo is like, I think he does a really good job of this. Where he's like, still, because he's supposed to be this like kind of unhinged person himself. Like he's got a violent background. And they kind of play off that for his undercover, or for his cover. And that's when he says, he's like, you accused me once, that's fine. I'm over it. You accused me twice, I quit. You keep accusing me, I put a bullet in your head like you're just anyone else. And that's when the gun falls and and he's just like,
which is
looks
funny
down the
I
barrel.
like that. He's like, oh yeah, I've been holding this gun at you the whole time. Kind of like, I dropped it. Like, oh, sorry about that. Here it is.
It's so... Oh, my God.
It's great. Yeah, it's great.
This is just... It just keeps building on this tension. Mm-hmm.
And this scene leads to two big things. One, it leads to another job that they talk about where Leo is not going to get put on that job last minute. He's going to use his new crew. But it also leads to Leo having like a mental breakdown where he needs to talk to Queenan because he's about to lose it. Which leads to Queenan and him meeting... And then we get the next major plot development because the little switcheroo that they're doing is that Matt Damon is now after the rat, and he has reason to believe that Queenan is meeting with Costello's rat, so he tells his group to track Queenan because he has reason to believe Queenan is Costello's rat. I love how all this is set up. It's like literally just like a little rat. Everyone's chasing everyone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. It's... I don't know. Like, it is, like, chaotic, like a bunch of rats running around. Like, that's... it's a country full of rats.
So, yeah, we get a lot of tense moments as Leo and Martin Sheen's characters meet up, and he is like, you're being tailed. He's like, no, I'm not. There's no way I'm being tailed.
Yeah, there's no way.
And, of course, he was being tailed.
He really should have listened to someone who is, like, paranoid or, constantly dealing with this shit. Like, he's gonna be paying attention. He's gonna be hyper vigilant. Like,
yeah, because once Martin Sheen's there with Leo and Matt Damon's character gets the, hey, heads up, like, we've trailed him and he's here, he calls Costello to tell him, hey, okay, he's meeting with the rat, send your guys, which leads to Leo's character getting the call and told where to go, but he actually gets the wrong address.
He gets the wrong address.
He shows up to the right one, though.
He does, but he's late.
He's late.
He's never been late in your life. I didn't have signal. When I got the signal, I got the call.
Yeah. So this leads to Martin Sheen getting thrown off the roof in a very memorable scene.
God.
And also we find out that there was more than one rat in Costello's group because the guy that told Leo to go to the wrong address kind of confides in Leo right before he dies as he's like, tell me why I didn't say nothing.
Tell me why I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, and then you get the police report later on in the news that says he was an undercover agent.
He was a boss. He was at Boston police, undercover with Boston police. And now Jack Nicholson says the cops are saying he's a cop, so I quit looking for the rat,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of still ambiguous, like.
Oh, I think he was a cop.
Oh, do you?
We never get it clarified that he was or wasn't, but I honestly think he was because I think he knew Leo was a cop, and that's why he gave him the wrong address, because he didn't want him to show up and get killed.
Oh.
That's the layers I went with. It's like he knows.
I love it. It's so
that
layered.
Thereafter, that Leo was meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I
think he knew that, like, he was meeting with Leo, and he was like, all right, so this is how I'm going to try to save you. And that's why he was like, yeah, you showed up to the wrong place, but, like, tell me why I didn't tell anybody. To tell him, like, to make sure the last thing he does before he dies is, like, gives him almost like a warning of, like, hey, like, they're on to you. Like,
Yeah.
I was able to figure it out. So, like, they're after you. Or you could take it like you said, like Costello was, which was that the whole thing was a lie and he wasn't actually at all. But, yeah, there's lots of different ways you could take it.
See, that's what I like about it. They kind of let you make that decision. Like, what is it? Why didn't he tell? Why did he do all that? Like, was it actually, so good. The writing is just so good.
So during this whole time, well, not this whole time, but during a large portion of this whole time, Leo and the therapist have been fucking because she's the world's most unprofessional therapist.
Well, I think by that time she recommends him to another therapist, and then that's when he's like, you want to go for coffee? So it's almost like he did that on purpose just so he could start making moves on her, you know?
Yeah.
So
and she's definitely intrigued because I think he represents everything she's looking for in a man that Matt Damon isn't, and she kind of realizes that she doesn't really love Damon's character, and that she's kind of settling for him. There's things that she doesn't like about him. That she sees a lot in Billy that she really likes.
Oh, yeah, Billy Costigan. He, like, when they're talking about the relationship, he's like, do you love the guy, do you love him? And she's like, it's a very serious relationship. It's like, that's really, come on.
Yeah.
If you love someone, you say it. You don't just say, it's a very serious relationship. Like,
exactly.
No.
So with Queenan being dead, Matt Damon is now in charge because Mark Whalberg gets himself put on vacation as he got into a fight after Queenan is found dead. And another one of the more memorable scenes.
With pay or whatever. He's like, I'd rather put in my papers. The world needs more bartenders.
Another great scene there. And Mark Whalberg disappears for a little while, but he does show back up one more time. In a very memorable role. Very memorable
it's so
role.
Good.
Yeah. So this kind of leads to our final confrontation as Matt Damon is now in charge, and he gives a call to Billy to get him to come in. And this, I love how they have that
blood-covered phone.
Yeah, I love that they have that tense stare, like without saying anything, where they're like they both answer, they're both on the phone, neither one is talking first, and they're just kind of doing like a little, almost like a standoff to see who's going to talk first.
Yes,
which is really cool the way they do that.
It is really cool because it's the two rats,
Yeah.
Like, the two sides of the coin. looking at each other, kind of, for the first time, really being able to interact with each other. Oh.
Yeah, they're finally kind of talking for the first time.
Yeah. Now, Leo doesn't know that he's talking to the rat.
No, he doesn't have any idea yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Now, he'll figure it out shortly, though.
Yeah, he will.
While this is happening, Matt Damon verifies that Costello is an FBI informant. So now he knows that Costello is so he's worried, have I been getting ratted on this whole time?
Yep.
So he immediately kind of starts to become more self-preservation than doing what Costello wants. As we kind of build to the final confrontation where he gets the tail off of him, but then also alerts everyone of where they're going, and they're going to go there before Costello gets there. And they're waiting there when Costello gets there.
Oh, it's so insane.
We get that big shootout, which is wonderful.
Oh, honestly, as a climax to the movie, it's perfect. I couldn't ask for it to go better. Everybody, you start seeing them just getting picked off one by one. You got Fitzy.
Yeah, he gets shot, then he runs into the thing and then blows himself up after killing himself.
French. Whenever he does that, he. Oh God, what a way to go! He's because he's back and he's driving backwards and he gets shot and he's like, "Fucking shot me!"
They fucking shot me.
and then of course, Jack Nicholson just cuts and runs. He's like, "Fuck it." He just runs off.
He gets shot at one place, but he cuts and runs. But he doesn't get very far because he immediately starts to call Colin to see what the fuck happened. How did this end up going this poorly?
What the hell?
And Colin's immediately you're a fucking FBI informant.
And then he's spitting up blood and stuff, and he's like, "Grow up."
He's like, "Everyone's a fucking rat." Whatever.
But
I like that Matt Damon's
final.
I was gonna say, I love that Matt Damon is did you ever fucking do they know about me? Do they has this all been a setup for us?
And he's like, I never, because he doesn't even really confirm or deny. He just says, I never took anyone down that wasn't already going down themselves, or something like that.
Yeah, which kind of leads it kind of open ended of he might have ratted on you.
Yeah, I was like, that's not an answer. My dick's out in the wind here.
And it doesn't last very long because immediately Frank pulls on Matt and fucking shoots him.
Just takes him out.
Yep.
And then his phone rings and it's that lady he's been with. And Matt Damon again, just he can't stop being this liar of a person. Just says we lost Frank. He's gone. He wasn't the one that just gunned him down.
Yeah, he just fucking shot and killed him.
But then after that, he's at the precinct again. He's at the downtown or whatever you call it, and at the office, and everybody's cheering him on because he's the guy that took down Big Bad Costello. How he Matt Damon he can't stop lying. He's the phone rings, it's that lady. He says we lost Frank, and then back at the precinct. So that's basically where I was back at the precinct. He's being hailed as a hero. So, and that he's a hero, and everybody and he's trying to play it down no. Which might actually have been a real feeling for him, Yeah,
I like that he's not able to fully accept how happy he is because he knows that all of this has been a lie. And he's also completely worried that he's also been ratted out to the FBI.
Oh, yeah.
Leo shows up at the precinct now that everything's kind of wrapped up because he's ready to get his bonus and just get out of here.
Yeah, he just wants his identity back, and he's like, you want to be a cop again? He's like, no, being a cop's not an identity. I want my identity back. Again, I still don't know what that means, but...
Yeah. He wants. I think he basically is saying he wants to be himself. He no longer wants to have to pretend to be something he's not. He doesn't want to have to pretend to be something he's not anymore. He just wants to be able to be himself for once. He's also got this lady that he's kind of after. At this point, we know she's pregnant, but we don't know exactly if he's the father or if Matt Damon's the father. Obviously, Matt Damon's impotency kind of leaves you questioning that a little bit.
Yeah, I have questions, you know.
Yeah,
like
and as Damon gets up to go get his money and everything, this is when Leo sees the typoed folder and immediately knows Damon's the fucking rat.
Damon's the rat.
And this is also when Anthony Anderson is like, "Yeah, I knew that guy. We went to the academy together."
Yeah.
So we get like another person that confirms that like I know he's a cop. Like I'm aware of his identity. This is going to become important later because he shows back up. Leo leaves and he tells her about his existence because she's the only one that he can really talk to at this point.
Yeah. He leaves her with some kind of envelope or something.
Yeah, basically like a little bit of. I think we never figure out what exactly is in there.
Nope.
I think we can eventually assume that like it's basically like if I am found dead, this is this is what was really going on. This is why I was doing what I was doing. Because at his funeral later, she's like bawling about him.
Oh, yeah.
And she refuses to speak to Matt Damon ever again. Like,
well,
because she's about to find out his true identity. As while she's with him, she gets a tape mailed from William, and she sees the name immediately, and she's like, puts two and two together, and she's like, I gotta open this and see what this is about.
How the fuck do these two?
How do they know each other?
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, because up to this point, she doesn't know that they have any reason to know each other.
No, not at all. Like,
and then she listens to the tape, and she finds out that Costello recorded all of his conversations. And that his lawyer gave them to fucking Billy because he trusted him more than anybody, which is a cruel twist of irony.
That really, well, if you think about it, like, Leo really is, or at least the character he puts on, is very young Frank, basically. Like, because earlier he's like, they say you could be cop or criminal when you're looking down the barrel of a gun. What's the difference? Later on, Leo says, "What's the difference?" And like, and that's when and Frank's like, "Let God sort him out." Like they really do share that. Like to Frank Costello, like Billy Costigan is like him.
Yeah, he's like the son he never had.
Exactly. And he tries to say that to Colin, but Colin, it kind of becomes clear he's just a tool.
Yeah,
he's
all
just,
that fucking and no sons. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's again, maybe that has something to do with like this kid that's on the way. Like it's alluding to, you think it's going to be Matt Damon, but it's actually Leo.
Yeah, I definitely think Leonardo DiCaprio is the father.
Oh, absolutely.
Soundbite that for later on for reference of other things. If it ever comes up again, soundbite that.
I love it.
So after we learn of everyone's existence, Matt Damon sees the phone number and he calls Billy, and this leads up to our final confrontation, 3:00, where Queenan died. Where then we get the final showdown between the two, where Leonardo DiCaprio wants to arrest him to kind of basically show everyone the whole time that Matt Damon has been a fucking rat and has been doing all this stuff. He also calls Anthony Anderson's character in because they know each other, so he can confirm his identity.
Dignam.
He wanted him to bring Dignam, and Dignam, I guess, didn't answer the call. We don't really know.
No, we don't know.
He just kind of vanishes until the end. It's presumed that he was kind of doing maybe his own little research to figure out who the rat was behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because he shows up like a fucking hitman later on, so...
Oh, God, yeah. And I'm wondering if maybe Leo sent him anything, maybe? It's just... see, again, I like that because it's unclear. How does he know? You know?
How did he figure all this stuff out, So this leads to Anthony kind of like... not necessarily agreeing with Leo with what he says, but he doesn't necessarily write it off when he's like...
Yeah, he's like...
Because
maybe you
when they were working together, he says maybe you are right about what you're saying. Because when they were working together, there's been some shady shit that Matt Damon's character did with Anthony Anderson, where he was like, he can't do that. Like with the lawyer scene where why'd you use my phone? He's like, because you didn't go in there. And he's like, still, that's like a little weird that like you didn't use your own phone. He's like, well, he couldn't use his phone because it would get traced back to him, right?
Yes.
So there's all these like layers where it's like, okay. And so I think Anthony Anderson is kind of putting it together as well. That's like, I can kind of believe you that he's the rat as well.
Yeah.
So he lets him go downstairs, and this unfortunately doesn't go very far as we get one of the best twist endings that you see coming. Because if you look at most of the time when characters die, there's a big X on the screen somewhere.
Oh.
And in this movie, if you go back and watch it again, there's like a big X, and in the elevator scene, there's a giant X behind Leonardo DiCaprio's head.
Oh, shit.
And as soon as they get down to the end, this is where we get the part where Matt Damon's like, just fucking kill me. Like, just fucking kill me. Because he doesn't want to go through the embarrassment of being revealed to be a rat. You're bringing a rat out into the daylight, right? He's going to try to squirm away.
Yep. I mean, that's all he's got.
Because as soon as they get to the bottom, Leo gets shot and killed and just immediately shot in the head. Which, if you've never seen the movie before, spoiler alert, but it's a twist ending that you don't see coming because all this time he's been the hero and he just fucking gets killed in the most violent way possible. Just a bullet right to the head.
Just so unceremonious. No, nothing. No preamble. Just open. Elevator doors open. He is down.
Dead. Yep.
Like
just shot dead.
It's just gone. Fuck.
Yeah. It's a beautiful scene.
It pissed me off the first time I saw it.
And this is where we find out that there have been 2 rats the whole time. So the other guy that Matt Damon has been working along with has also been a rat for Costello. Like, he always had 2 guys. Did you think you were the only one?
Yeah.
And as Anthony Anderson comes down, as Anthony Anderson comes down, he also gets shot and killed.
Yeah.
And then after the other rat tells Matt Damon that it's just me and you, Costello was an FBI informant. He was going to turn us over, which it looks like he was.
Yeah.
This doesn't last very long though, because Matt Damon then kills him.
Yeah. Again, he doesn't work with other people. He's only worked with himself. He's only trusted himself, and everybody else is just.
He doesn't know how to do anything with anybody else.
No, which is again why his relationship didn't really work with the psychiatrist. He can't work with the other person. You know.
Yeah.
Like. So, God, it just all ties together. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. So then we get Matt Damon's overdub as he describes the events, which is a complete lie. But he does recommend Billy to get the
Medal of Merit.
The Medal of Merit, yeah. And this is where we get the funeral, where we see Matt Damon and her seeing each other, and she is losing it over Billy.
Oh, yeah.
And Matt Damon tries to ask her about the baby, and she completely just walks on by him and doesn't say a thing.
Yep, nope. Just ignores him completely.
Yeah. He says, what about the baby? And she just keeps on walking.
Yep. Oh, that's a hard scene right there.
Yeah, the next thing we cut to is him trying to pet a dog, and the dog also wants nothing to do with him. So
yeah, like again, like he's been so charming with women this whole time, and now this old lady with a dog won't even give him a chance. Like,
yeah, he's a fucking rat, right? Nobody likes rats.
Yeah,
right?
There it is.
Yeah,
and opens his door.
And then there's Mark Whalberg dressed like a fucking Aldi's hitman, and he just says, "Okay,
fine."
Yeah, and then he gets shot.
And then he walks out, and
blood leaks everywhere, and we get a CGI rat.
That I don't get it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't understand the rat.
I think they just wanted to like double down in case you didn't pay attention. Like, he's a rat. Did you get it? Well, he's a rat.
They showed the Capitol building because he's been wanting to look at that. For some reason, that's something he aspires to. Like, he wants to be a lawyer. He wants to do that.
That building, his apartment, if you look at the geography of Boston, that apartment does not exist.
Oh.
Which is kind of clever. That, like, it's all fictional. That, like, there is no view of that.
There is no Matt Damon. His character is just made up. Like, even like in the context of the movie, I get it.
Yeah.
But
it's very well done. Yeah. So, final thoughts about this movie, and then we'll talk about next week and sign off.
Well, I would say final thoughts on this movie. If it's not clear, one of my favorite movies of all time. It deserves every Oscar it got. It probably could have used a few more, but and just. I should have known it was going to be one of my favorite movies because it starts out with my favorite Rolling Stones song, "Gimme Shelter."
Oh yeah.
So that's usually that's a good tone to start on, especially because it's that has a bit of a sinister tone to it, that song, and it's just it's one of those movies where you don't get to slow down for a second. It's a long movie, but it is just so fast paced, and everything is just so intense. It's like. And the way that they choose their moments right, where there's no music sometimes, or where there is a little music, but like when things are happening, like for the most part, there's really no music happening. It's just in certain parts, like in certain key parts, but they handle it so well, and every little montage of things that happen is just full. I mean, it's like there's just no fat on this thing.
No, it's an amazing movie. Yeah,
it really is. Like it's long, but it needs every part of it. So
yeah. I was gonna say it's just as long as like The Swarm and The Postman, other movies that we kind of talked about the length of. But whereas those movies seem bloated, where nothing much happens for large portions of them, every single thing in this movie is really important, and you could honestly stretch a couple of things out more. Like we lose a lot of what happens to Mark Whalberg's character, and in fact, a lot of that was because they originally had a sequel in mind, which never happened.
Oh,
but the sequel was going to focus on Mark Whalberg and his kind of taking down Boston crime figures. At least that was the idea, but Martin Scorsese had no interest, and so never came to be.
Yeah.
But I love this movie. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably up there with my favorite crime movies, right next to Goodfellas, depending on the day. It is a long movie. It is a good long movie, though. I love all of the acting. The directing is amazing. The music is amazing. The writing is really good. It's just, there's a lot of really good, really cool things in it that make it a fun watch, and I can never get enough of watching it. It's a movie that I have watched so many fucking times, and will continue to watch countless times. Thank y'all for coming along on our episode 50. We're going to sign off here in a minute. We got another little bonus thing we're going to do here in a moment, something else that'll be a little fun. But next week we will come back with episode 51, start of season 2, which is not really all that relevant, but start of season 2. And we're going to talk about another Mark Whalberg movie, The Happening. So if you heard the mid-roll, you already learned that. If not, here it is once again. Come back next week, and let's learn about how the plants are going to kill us.
Oh, God.
We'll see y'all then.
Take it easy.
Hot damn, college boy. Thank you so much for listening. Every single week we come back with a new movie about the end of the world, or a movie about the beginning of the end of the world, or what happens after the end of the world, or maybe one day we just decide to watch Showgirls. Who knows? Right? But every week we are coming back, and thank you so much for stopping in this week and listening to the whole episode and hearing our thoughts on whatever train wreck of a movie I chose to force my friend to watch this week. I'm a good person like that. And thank you for also being a good person. There you go. If you want to be a really, really fucking cool person, which you obviously are, why don't you give us a like, and actually, more importantly, give us a subscribe. I find that to be more important. I don't know if the algorithm says it is. I don't really give a shit. But thank you for your patronage either way, and clicking all the things and doing all the stuff. Bye.